Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I am an employment attorney, and generally on this channel we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney for free. However, today we are continuing our series on how to obtain representation from an employment attorney, because generally speaking I think people will be best served by having representation on these cases, and it's perfectly okay if you disagree. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't want representation, you should not get representation. We answer a lot of questions for pro se folks to help you too. I just think you're not making the best decision. But it doesn't mean I don't want to help you. It just means I disagree. So, specifically what we're talking about today, in terms of maybe something to not necessarily do when you call up an employment attorney, and this is common. People will call up the employment attorney and say, hey, I would never settle my case ever. I want my day in court. I don't care what they offer me. I don't care. Well, okay. Well, right off the bat, there's a whole bunch of employment firms that are more like settlement firms. Not my firm, not what we do. And I do generally think that I would, if I had a family member who, was bringing a workplace discrimination claim or a workplace sexual harassment claim, I would not want them with a settlement firm. I would want them with a firm that was set up to do trial work and that had a trial pedigree, because generally those firms will obtain better settlements. That's also incidentally why our firm is set up to do trial work, right? Like we have a very, very good trial attorney and a trial team, and we like it when cases go to trial. However, when you tell law firms, I only want trial, immediately all the employment firms that are not really set up for trial hear, not for me. Maybe you're happy about that. Maybe you're not. It probably depends where in the country you are and how many options you have. But let's say you're not interested in a settlement firm. You're not worried about that, so that's not a consideration. Cool. Actually, I think that's a really good idea. Let's say you're just hypothetically calling me up. You're like, I would only do trial. No matter what they offer me, only trial. Well, I've got to ask you, so if they offer you 100 cents on the dollar, I'll go further, 140 cents on the dollar for your economic damages, and the most we believe you could possibly win on your emotional damages, if they offer you everything, every cent that we think you could realistically win here, if they offer it all to you and more, like 40% premium over what we think you could hope to win at trial, as damages are calculated under the laws of the federal government and your jurisdiction, they're offering you more than you could win at trial with no risk, because it's a settlement, so you win for sure. And no requirements in the settlement agreement, no confidentiality, you can talk about it, no non-disparagement, no nothing. You're good. Your claims are adjudicated, you've settled them, just the release, nothing else in the settlement agreement, 140% of what it was worth. And that's the offer. Are you telling me that you're going to say no thank you? Because now I've got a problem. I've got a problem because Joe's going to look at me and say, what's wrong with you? You got a zero risk settlement offer that's more than you can win at trial. Counselor, do you want to waste this court's time? Well, see, Judge, I don't want to waste the court's time. I'm so sorry. But I got a client, got to do what my client wants. Just going to be like, counselor, get your client in here, because we're not rolling trials for fun. And I want to talk to this client about how this is more than this client could realistically probably win at trial with zero risk. Okay, Judge, I will produce my client. That is my duty. So you got to go produce your client to the judge, and judge is gonna be like, why are you wasting everyone's time? You want me to pull a jury of your peers out of their jobs because you want a little performance? You want a little performance in court? I've seen it happen, right? This is what judges say. You want the federal government or the state government, whatever, depending what court you're in, to spend tens of thousands of dollars for you to get the same or less at trial. I mean, almost certainly less, because in this hypothetical, the offer is 40% more than you could realistically hope to win. So almost certainly you're going to get less at trial. So you want me, convenience the whole world, spend tons of money, Writing a wrong that's already been righted, it's been righted plus 40% as the law sees it, right? I'm not, and listen, I often disagree with how the law calculates damages. People will call me up and say, "Hey, I don't agree with your calculations video." Like, you can disagree with the law, right? The law, I disagree with the law. I don't think the law calculates damages correctly in many jurisdictions, including under the federal laws. I don't think the law was drafted in a way to really right these wrongs. I don't think the law was drafted in a way to really scare employers straight as in behaving. But the law is the law. Like, I mean, I can't make a video lying to you about the law. You can disagree all you want, but the law says what it says, and I have to give you the answers, and I can tell you at the end, yeah, I don't agree with how this is done, but this is in fact how it's done. And the judge is like, so what? Why are we doing it? You think this is going to change the world? This is not going to change the world. Right? I mean, so many clients are like, oh my God, I want my day in court. I'm going to write a book. You know how many books I've talked about in my career? I'm going to write a book. Okay. I'm aware of all the people in all the land who told me they're going to write a book. One wrote it. I don't believe anyone's ever read it. It's just a reality. Like, the media, for the media, these are like quick hits, generally speaking. Like, if you're like a Fox News newscaster and you have this really high profile sexual harassment claim, like, which is what happened, like, that's going to get traction. Famous people get traction. If you're like an amazing social media person, maybe you can get traction for your case. But also, like, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm going to turn my case into a social media pundit. Bet you're not. That's not a job. Like, there's a lot of people on Twitter who think they're pundits. Twitter has fewer active users than Snapchat. Like, it's just not a thing. It's just the media and a couple of sports people and a couple of actors and actresses. I guess just actors now. Everyone's an actor. Like, that's not a job. Not really. Right? So the issue we're facing here is when you say, I only want trial, I have to ask, well, what if they offer you everything and more? And if the answer is, I don't care, I want trial, I'm probably going to say, well, that doesn't make too much sense. You're asking me to invest somewhere between $20,000 and $100,000 in your case. And if they're offering you 140% of what you could hope to win, what you're saying is you want me to risk all of the money that I am investing in you and in your claims for no reason, because you want this performative day, this trial, right? That no one's going to care about. I mean, I care about it. You care about it. Hopefully we can get the jury to care about it, but no one's going to really talk about it. Highly unlikely. And I mean, at least unless we get our publicist to do something, right? Even then, we have to be very careful how we do that, because the Bar Association doesn't like it. And people will file motions saying we're trying to try this case in the public eye. So we got to be careful. We got to do everything ethically and correctly. And you want me to risk all this? You want to make judges angry? All these things. Because why? You're not going to change the world. These laws weren't built to change the world, at least not quickly, right? I mean, listen, have I worked on cases that I think moved the needle? Yes, 100%. I would say less than 10 in 13 years of practice. Less than 10 of my cases probably moved the needle in terms of making the world at large like a better place. Most of them are us slapping around an employer, making them pay, and then it's over. And many employers are very flippant. If you sue a French bank or many of the banks out of Asia when they're doing business in the US, you sue them for workplace discrimination, they laugh and say, yes, the American tax. And it's just like, they don't care. They just don't care. They're just, we don't, of course, as a French bank, we don't want to hire dirty Americans. We prefer the French people, right? Like, that was not a French accent. I hope that would be rude. But like, their attitude is very much, we prefer to hire French people, Francophiles. The rest of you annoy us. And in your country, apparently that's a claim, but we're not going to stop. We're just going to pay it and laugh and call it the American tax, right? Like that's the reality of many of these cases. So when you say, I want my day in trial no matter what, a lot of firms are just going to say, that's cool, I'm rooting for you, but like, I'm not going to sink 10, 20, 40, 100 grand into a case because you want your trial. Like, that's not, like, if you're realistic, if you want things that I can achieve for you, I will do that trial, right? Like, if you're saying, I want this realistic result and I don't want to take a settlement for less, yeah, I'm on board with that. I like trial. It's good for us to go to trial. We don't get to go to trial as much as we want to as a firm, right? But the key difference is, have you been offered a really, really good offer or not, right? If the current offer is like, listen, I think we can do better, I don't think you should take that. I think we could win this trial. I think we could do better at trial. We should go to trial. That is a really cool thing. We should, in fact, go to trial at that situation, right? If the offer is better than we think you'll do at trial, or also like a lot of people, like, you look at their case and you're like, yeah, listen, this case is viable and we've got you a really solid settlement offer here, but like, it's worth noting that just between us, client and attorney, you got some problems in your case, and maybe those problems include you in terms of being a witness, right? A million and one ways to be a bad witness: lose your cool, not remember things, get nervous and say random things, freak out. Like, there's so many ways that cases can go south that firms are not going to be like shy about telling you, like, hey, this offer is for like 70% of what we think you can win. And not for nothing, we think if we run this trial 10 times, you lose 80% of the time. Just because you cannot, there's some flaw in the case, right? I guess I'm ranting at this point, but like, my point is, when you call attorneys up and say, only trial, no matter what, I don't care what they offer, most firms are going to say, oh, cool, then you can pay us hourly, you can pay expenses. Or they're just going to say, oh, cool, good luck, see you later, we're not going to make you an offer. And so you should be aware of that when you're having those conversations, right? It's worth knowing before you take that stance what you're saying. A lot of people, I don't think, understand what they're saying to the firms when they say that. And a lot of firms don't bother to have the conversation like, okay, I hear you want trial, and that's actually really cool. I don't think a lot of firms think trial is good necessarily, but we actually really do like cases to go to trial. Our issue is more that generally clients embrace settlement because it's lower risk for them. We get a lot of cases. So we get to make it in aggregate. We win in aggregate, right? But if you have only one of these cases, you're a plaintiff, you only have one case in your lifetime, maybe, it's hard to embrace trial sometimes, unless you're this person who just wants trial. But a lot of firms are just going to be like, oh, you want trial no matter what? Okay, well, that's going to be a huge investment and a huge amount of time and work. And if that's required, we'll do it. But if it's not required, if we get you a really good offer that's like 100 cents on the dollar, 140 cents on the dollar, 140% of what you might hope to win, yeah, we're not going to be psyched to do that trial, because you're just introducing risk for no reason, potentially because you think it will feel good. And a lot of firms are going to just walk away. That's not going to be a very compelling offer for them. And it's just a reality. I'm getting a lot of hate on this video. And that's okay, because these are things I don't believe anybody's going to say these things to you. Like, you're never going to call an attorney on the phone. They're going to be like, well, what if I got you an offer of 140% of what you could hope to win? Like, I don't think most firms are going to do that. I'll do that. But I'm in a weird place in my career where I can have those conversations and take that time with somebody. And also, I'm like not great at human interaction and noticing when people are angry at me. So often I have conversations and people are screaming at me and I'm just like, yeah. Trial. Yeah. But what if we got you the 140% of what you could win? And they're just, person's like flabbergasted. I'm still on the phone and like, can't believe that I'm not like screaming back at them. So I guess my rambling point here is think about what you're saying and flip it. Put yourself in the firm's shoes. Would you just want to sink all that money and all that time into a case and then know that you're going to just try it for no apparent reason and introduce all the risk, the randomness of a jury who's going to listen to 30 seconds of every 5 minutes and hope for a win for no reason other than the client felt like it? It's worth thinking about before you get on the phone with a potential attorney and say that to them. Like and subscribe, although you probably hate me now. Your like, your subscribe, your comment down below and tell me how much you hate me for saying this. But all of that will help the channel. It'll help me to help more people just like you. And remember, everyone works. Not everybody wins. I guess not everybody works. There's like trust fund babies, right?